Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm a freelance illustrator and designer. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the advice that I wish I'd been given when I was getting started in my career. This advice is going to be applicable to a lot of people within different creative fields, but for me specifically, this is what I've learned through my career in illustration, graphic design, brand design, web design, and a few other things thrown in there. I've been watching these videos for years. I always find it so interesting to see not only how people do the same things that I do in their own way, but also to try and get ahead and not get stuck in the same kind of pitfalls that other people fall into. So I'm not trying to say that this is advice that you've never heard before or isn't in any of these other videos, but it is a little less typical. So let's get started. A little bit of background, I call myself an illustrator and designer. There's so many different things that I've helped my clients with over the years. When I graduated high school, I went into architecture, did 6 months of that, and I hated it. I switched over to graphic design and I really found my rhythm. While I was studying my BA, I was doing in-house graphic design work for my regular job, as well as a few freelance projects every now and again. Once I graduated with my BA in arts in graphic design and creative advertising, I decided to move to Europe. So I did a little bit of freelance while I was there. After I came back from Europe, I ended up getting a corporate job where I did in-house work with the marketing team. And during that time, I discovered that I was actually really passionate about marketing. So I went back to university again. I did a postgraduate degree in marketing. While I was studying that, I also was working part-time in an agency doing graphic design and marketing for them. When that role finished, I moved on to a new agency and I spent almost 2 years there. Which brings me to now. After my husband and I decided to move to the US last year, I decided to go full-time freelance and have been doing that since January 2020. So all in all, I have almost 8 years of experience in freelance, in-house design work, and also agency work. And it's a combination of all of these different experiences where I've picked up different things that I think could be really helpful to someone coming fresh out of university and ready to start their freelance career. In no particular order, the first piece of advice that I have is to treat your business as a client. You need to dedicate time to your business every single week where you're going to focus on expanding your portfolio, doing some marketing, doing some outreach, and just doing general maintenance that you would do for a client, but actually helping grow your own business. Now, it might sound like common sense to spend time on your business, but once you do actually get started, it's really easy to get caught up in client work and forget to actually focus on your own business. So I found it really helps to dedicate a certain amount of hours every week on a particular day to your own marketing. So make sure that Wednesdays is the day that you share what you've been doing online so people can keep up to date with you. You put new projects into your portfolio, maybe you update your Behance, reach out to people that could be of help to you, write an article for your LinkedIn. Make sure that you're spending time on your business, just as you would a client. You need to charge a living wage. Something that doesn't come easy to creative people is the finance side of your business. But when you're going freelance, you are starting a business. It's not just about drawing and doing all the fun stuff. You need to make sure that your business is functioning properly. One of the first things that you're going to come across is learning how to charge a client. There's so much advice out there, so I'm not going to go into it in a lot of detail, but just make sure that whether you're doing a per project price or a billable hours price, make sure that you're getting charged a decent wage. It is so easy to say, I'm going to charge $250 for a logo design, and then once you've done your research, you've done your initial designs, you're going forwards and backwards, you're putting in as much effort as you can because you really want to make a good impression. There's revisions, there's extra things that they ask for that you don't necessarily know how to charge for yet, and you end up spending 20-30 hours on a branding project and only getting paid that tiny amount. Once you do the maths, you can work out that you're earning less than minimum wage, which isn't good for anyone. In time, you'll learn how long it takes you to complete each of these tasks, which will help you in scoping out projects and charging appropriately for them. But until then, make sure that you're charging a rate which is fair for the experience level that you're at, but also something that you can live off of and you're not getting exploited. Be an asset to your client. This is my biggest tip. It's the one that probably took me the longest to work out, but it has also been the most fruitful for my career. Once I realized this and I started implementing it, the customer experience that I was able to offer my clients, but also the returns that I got for that afterwards, skyrocketed. What I mean by this is that when you're getting started, it's easy to think of the brief that you've been given kind of like you would an assignment in school. You get the brief, you read it, you understand it, you run off, you do your research, you complete everything, and you almost like present it to a teacher. There's no collaborative efforts, there's no real conversation at the beginning. It's something that you take on board and you just run with it. Although this is great, and at the end of the day, completing your brief is what you're being hired for, being an actual asset to your client is huge. So have a really open conversation at the beginning of this process and make sure that not only they understand the section of their project that you're working on, but see how you can help them with other sections of the project. By this, I can mean recommending printers, I can mean recommending different businesses, different ways that they can advertise this once the product is ready. It's not just about upselling, it's about offering your expertise because you're in the industry and you're working with these kind of clients all the time. There's a good chance that this is the first time they have done anything like this for their business, but you deal with it all the time. So offer your expertise, offer your advice, and share as much as you can so that they consider you an asset and they want you to be a member of your team that they can come back to and they can rely on for good advice and good work. Get every single client to sign a contract. It doesn't matter how small it is or how large it is, every single client that you work with needs to be signing a contract before you begin services for them. Contracts aren't just to protect the client, they're also to protect you. There's plenty of resources out there that can help you get your first contract ready, but a few things that you need to make sure are in it. Deadlines. Not just the final deadline for when it's due, but for when sketches are due, drafts are due, for when the client needs to give you feedback by, for when you will have your revisions completed by. Putting all of these on paper at the beginning of the project will protect you from having projects blown well out of scope. Payment schedules. Whether the project is $50 or $5,000, there should be a payment schedule. Depending on how large it is, decides how many payments you may want. For example, if it's a small project, you may just get the payment up front. If it's a larger project, you need to have certain dates that certain amounts are getting paid by. Put this into the contract so that the client knows it and they agree to them before you start your project. Usage rates. This is one I think we all learn the hard way, but you can charge different rates for the same project depending on how the client is going to use it. If you're doing an illustration for a client so that they can print it on a tote bag 500 times, that's a different rate to giving a client full rights to that illustration that they can put on every single product they want for as long as they want for the duration of their lifetime. Understand the usage rights to the work that you're doing and make sure it's included in the contract so that you're getting a fair wage for what you're providing to your client. How the work is going to be delivered. There's a big difference between giving a client PNG files, high-res files, PDF files, and native design files. Giving up your original design files to a client so that they can take them, manipulate them, and not come back to you is a quick way to cut off your work. So make sure that you're getting paid for whether you're giving up your native design files or whether you're not. A lot of clients will assume that they get your design files, but it's not something that you should be giving up straight away. If they do want the design files, they need to be paying a fair wage for them. So incorporate that into your fees, whether they're getting print ready files or web ready files and they need to come back to you to get further work done, or they're getting those original design files and they can do it themselves or take them to another designer and cut you out from the agreement. Who owns the copyright for the files? Who does the work belong to once the project's finished? Do these files stay copyrighted to you, or are you giving the rights to the client? And are you allowed to share them? Depending on the client that you're working with, they may decide whether or not they want you to market yourself on your own platforms and in your own portfolio with the work that you did for them. Make sure that you're including a clause in there that states that you're allowed to use the work that you've developed in your portfolio and in your marketing. Be legit. Set yourself up with a business bank account that only gets used for business purposes. Make sure that you're tracking all of the payments that are coming in and out of your business and that you're filing away everything that you'll need come tax time. Register yourself with your local government, with your national government, whatever it is that you need to do in your country and in your state. And if you want to, you can even register your business name so that no one else uses it. This can be important if you're going by a studio name or a brand name rather than your own personal name, because if you happen to use a name that another business is using, you can get in trouble, or if another business tries to use your name after you've already established yourself, you have the rights to defend your business name and they will have to change it. So register your business name so you don't get that cease and desist. Be friendly. It sounds simple, but in your first year or two, you could have a few nightmare clients. We always do. Everyone's got the stories, but it's important to stand up for yourself, but remain professional and remain friendly. You want to not only end the project on a good note, but maintain that communication and always be friendly with the client, because you never know how much return work you can get from them, or if they're going to recommend you to other people. Word of mouth can be really, really critical in getting your business off the ground when you're getting started. Publish the work that you want to be doing. The work that you publish across different platforms can be different depending on what the platform is. What you put up on Behance may be different to what you put up on Instagram or DeviantArt or whatever other system it is that you're using. But make sure that the work that you're publishing to your portfolio on your own website is the work that you want to be doing. Whether you're curating your work down to a certain industry or style, by showing the stuff that you love and you're passionate about, that's the kind of stuff that you'll attract. And this isn't a manifestation thing. This is simply editors, publishers, business owners, whoever it is that's hiring you, seeing that you can do the work that they want and not taking a risk, because they can see in front of them that you're going to be competent. So share the kind of work that you want to be doing, because that's the kind of work that you will get in return. If you've been going at this for a while and you're still not getting the projects that you dream of, be patient, they will come to you. But in the meantime, set yourself personal projects, create your dream brief and fulfill it. Share that work online. So like I said, people can see that you are able to fulfill that brief, and then they'll hire you to do that same work or something really similar. And remember that whether you're still getting started or whether you've been doing this for years, it's okay to have personal projects in there. Not everything has to be client work. These are all the tips that I have. I hope that they've been helpful to you. If you have any more questions, be sure to drop them below. I'm happy to answer things. I'll be in there as long as I need to help you guys out. While you're at it, be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell. I've got plenty more videos coming up. If there's anything in particular that you want to see me do or talk about, be sure to drop that in the comments below and I'll get started on it. See you guys.